Okay, we're back again with some more bedtime reading. So we just finished the second book in the Magic Treehouse series about the night before dawn. So we have read about dinosaurs was in our first book, the dinosaurs before dark. And then our second book was about a knight and castle in the night before dawn. And then this time, the third book in the series, we're going to be reading about mummies. Mummies in the morning. So this is the Magic Treehouse by Mary Pope Osborne, and the title of the number 3 book is Mummies in the Morning. So let's get started. We'll read the first 3 chapters, and we will go from there. Chapter 1, Meow. It's still here, said Jack. It looks empty, said Annie. Jack and his 7-year-old sister gazed up at a very tall oak tree. At the top of the tree was a treehouse. Late morning sunlight lit the woods. It was almost time for lunch. Shh, Jack said. What was that noise? What noise? I heard a noise, said Jack. He looked around. It sounded like someone was coughing. I didn't hear anything, said Annie. Come on, let's go up. She grabbed onto the rope ladder and started climbing. Jack tiptoed over to a clump of bushes. He pushed aside a small branch. Hello, he said. Anybody there? There was no answer. Come on, Annie called down. The treehouse looks the same as it did yesterday. Jack still felt that someone was nearby. Could it be the person who'd put all the books in the treehouse? Jack! Jack gazed over the top of the bushes. Was the mysterious person watching him now? The person whose name had begun with an M? Maybe M wanted the gold medallion back, the one that Jack had found on their dinosaur adventure. Or maybe M wanted the leather bookmark back, the one from the castle book. There was an M on the medallion and an M on the bookmark, but what did M stand for? Tomorrow, I'll bring everything back, Jack said loudly, and a breeze swept through the woods, and the leaves rattled. Come on, called Annie. Jack went back to the big oak tree. He grabbed onto the rope ladder and climbed up. At the top, he crawled through a hole in the wooden floor, and he tossed down his backpack and pushed his glasses into place. Which book is it going to be today? Said Annie. She was looking at the books scattered around the treehouse. Annie picked up the book about castles. Hey, this isn't wet anymore, she said. Let me see. Jack took the book from her. He was amazed. It looked fine. Yesterday it had gotten soaked in a castle moat. The castle book had taken Jack and Annie back to the time of the knights. Jack silently thanked the mysterious knight who had rescued them. Watch out, warned Annie, and she waved a dinosaur book in Jack's face. Put that away, said Jack. The day before yesterday, the dinosaur book had taken them to the time of the dinosaurs. Jack silently thanked the pteranodon who had saved him from the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Annie put the dinosaur book back with the other books, and then she gasped. Wow, she whispered. Look at this. She held up a book about ancient Egypt. Jack caught his breath. He took the book from her. A green silk bookmark stuck out of it. Jack turned to the page with the bookmark. There was a picture of a pyramid. Going towards the pyramid was a long parade. 4 huge cows with horns were pulling a sled, and on the sled was a long gold box. Many Egyptians were walking behind the sled, and at the end of the parade was a sleek black cat. Let's go there, whispered Annie. Now. Wait, said Jack. He wanted to study the book a bit more. Pyramids, Jack, said Annie. You love pyramids. It was true. Pyramids were high on his list of favorite things after knights, but before dinosaurs. Way before dinosaurs. He didn't have to worry about being eaten by a pyramid. Okay, he said. But hold the Pennsylvania book, in case we want to come right back here. Annie found the book with the picture of their hometown in it, Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. Then Jack pointed to the pyramid picture in the Egypt book. He cleared his throat and said, I wish we could go to this place. Meow. What was that? Jack looked out the treehouse window. A black cat was perched on a branch right outside the window. The cat was staring at Jack and Annie. It was the strangest cat Jack had ever seen. He was very sleek and dark, with bright yellow eyes and a wide gold collar. It's the cat in the Egypt book, whispered Annie. Just then, the wind started to blow. The leaves began to shake. Here we go, cried Annie. The wind whistled louder. The leaves shook harder. Jack closed his eyes as the treehouse started to spin, and it spun faster and faster and faster, and suddenly everything went still. Absolutely still. Not a sound, not a whisper. Jack opened his eyes. Hot, bright sunlight nearly blinded him. Meow. Chapter 2. Oh man, Mummies. Jack and Annie looked out the window. The treehouse was perched on the top of a palm tree. The tree stood with other palm trees, a patch of green surrounded by a sandy desert. Meow. Jack and Annie looked down. The black cat was sitting at the base of the tree. His yellow eyes were staring up at Jack and Annie. Hi, Annie shouted. Shh, said Jack. Someone might hear you. In the middle of the desert, said Annie. The black cat stood and began walking around the tree. Come back, Annie called, and she leaned out the window to see where the cat was going. Oh, wow, she said. Look, Jack. Jack leaned forward and looked down. The cat was running away from the palm trees towards a giant pyramid in the desert. A parade was going towards the pyramid, the same parade as in the Egypt book. It's the picture from the book, said Jack. What are those people doing? Asked Annie. Jack looked down at the Egypt book and read the words under the picture. When a royal person died, a grand funeral procession took place. Families, servants, and mourners followed the coffin. The coffin was called the sarcophagus. It was pulled on a sled by 4 oxen. It's an Egyptian funeral, said Jack. The box is called a oh, forget it. He looked out the window again. Oxen, sled, Egyptians, black cat, all were moving in a slow, dreamy way. I better make some notes about this, said Jack. He reached into his backpack and pulled out his notebook. Jack always kept notes. Wait, said Jack, and he wrote, coffin called sarcophagus. We better hurry, said Annie, if we want to see the mummy. She started down the rope ladder. Jack looked up from his notebook. Mummy? He said. Well, there's probably a mummy in that gold box, Annie called up. We're in ancient Egypt, remember? Jack loved mummies. He put down his pencil. Goodbye, Jack, called Annie. Wait, Jack called. Mummies, Annie shouted. Oh, man, said Jack weakly. Mummies. She sure knew how to get to him. Jack shoved his notebook and the Egypt book into his pack. Then he started down the ladder. When he got to the ground, he and Annie took off across the sand. But as they ran, a strange thing happened. The closer they got to the parade, the harder it was to see it. Then suddenly, it was gone. The strange parade had disappeared, vanished. But the great stone pyramid was still there, towering above them. Panting, Jack looked around. What had happened? Where were the people? The oxen? The gold box? The cat? They're gone, said Annie. Where'd they go? Said Jack. Maybe they were ghosts, said Annie. Don't be silly. There's no such thing as ghosts, said Jack. It must have been a mirage. A what? Mirage. It happens in the desert all the time, said Jack. It looks like something's there, but it just turns out to be the sunlight reflecting through heat. How could sunlight look like people and a mummy box and a bunch of cows, said Annie. Jack frowned. Ghosts, she said. No way, said Jack. Look, Annie pointed at the pyramid, and near the base was the sleek black cat. He was standing alone. He was staring at Jack and Annie. He's no mirage, said Annie. The cat started to slink away. He walked along the base of the pyramid and slid around a corner. Where is he going? Said Jack. Let's find out, said Annie. They dashed around the corner, just in time to see the cat disappear through a hole in the pyramid. All right, chapter 3, and then we'll stop for the night. It's alive. Where did he go? Said Jack. He and Annie peeked through the hole. They saw a long hallway. Burning torches lit the walls. Dark shadows loomed. Let's go in, said Annie. Wait, said Jack. He pulled out the Egypt book and turned to the section on pyramids, and he read the caption aloud. Pyramids were sometimes called houses of the dead. They were nearly all solid stone, except for the burial chambers deep inside. Wow, let's go there, to the burial chambers, said Annie. I bet a mummy's in there. Jack took a deep breath. Then he stepped out of the hot, bright sunlight into the cool, dark pyramid. The hallway was silent. Floor, ceiling, walls, everything was stone. The floor slanted up from where they stood. "We'll have to go farther inside," said Annie. "Right," said Jack, "but stay close behind me and don't talk. Don't—" "Go, just go," said Annie, and she gave him a little push. Jack started up the slanting floor of the hallway. Where was the cat? The hallway went on and on. "Wait," said Jack, "I want to look at the book." He opened the Egypt book again, and he held it below a torch on the wall. The book showed a picture of the inside of the pyramid. "The burial chamber is in the middle of the pyramid. See," Jack said. He pointed to the picture. "It seems to be straight ahead." Jack tucked the book under his arm, and then they headed deeper into the pyramid. Soon the floor became flat, and the air felt different, musty, and stale. Jack opened the book again. "I think we're almost to the burial chamber. See the picture? The hallway slants up, and then it gets flat, and then you come to the chamber. See? Look!" "Eee!" A strange cry shot through the pyramid, and Jack dropped the Egypt book. Out of the shadows flew a white figure. It swooshed towards them. A mummy! "It's alive!" Annie shouted. All right, and that is the end of our first 3 chapters in our 3rd book in the Magic Treehouse series, Mummies in the Morning. So tomorrow night we will pick up with chapters 4 through 6, and I hope to see you then. Bye!